Hi, Lanny.
Hi. I may not stay long, but I'm glad to be here.
It's good to see you.
I listened to Jonathan earlier today.
Yeah, yeah. Nope, me too. Hi, Jan. Nice to see you.
Hi Jody, how are you? You
I
had surgery, right?
I did. I had major abdominal surgery just a week ago, and I'm doing really, really well.
That's great.
Very rough week, but um, I've been home from the hospital a few days, and I'm feeling really good. Each day is
Good.
better.
That's
Thank you so
great.
much.
What did you have done? Sorry, if it's not okay, you don't have to say it.
Well, what I will say is that about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was at my doctor's, and I thought I needed to go have physical therapy for a groin pull that wasn't healing. And after a few appointments and different types of imaging, it was found that I had a large mass in my abdomen. And so um, about 3 weeks ago, I had an exploratory to see kind of what things were. And last week I had, major surgery. And so far, like during surgery, they take some, like, they freeze some tissues and do pathology or biopsies. And um, surprisingly, because I was almost immediately 3 weeks ago sent to an oncologist, surgeon, and everything so far has come up negative. Um, Nothing's been, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I still, next week, I go back in to see my oncologist and get the final pathology of all the tissues and organs they removed from me. But, um, it'd be very highly unlikely that anything at this point will be found malignant. So,
Wow.
truly,
Wow.
truly, truly blessed.
You look really good
Thank
for being just a week ago.
Yeah, it's been every day. It's getting better and better, and um, I'm going to wait a couple more minutes until a few more people pop in, but um, I'm going to introduce our topic, our theme for the day, and it follows the lines of why I feel that um, doing well and all the lessons and teachings that I am continually pulling in and in trying to integrate into my life from the experiences I've had this past month. And even more importantly, I cannot wait to hear from each of you um, about um, the lessons and the integration that you each have extracted from your own life experiences when you come upon certain situations in life that have really tested and challenged you. Um,
Thanks for being with us.
yeah, yeah. So I guess the way that I start, at first I thought, I'm gonna make you kind of guess what the theme was today by reading, a poem or a reading or two and all. But it's no secret at this point that what we're going to talk about today is healing, and a little more specifically how healing differs from finding or searching for a cure. So, you know, if you take two aspirin for a headache, you expect to cure your headache. Or you go to the doctor for an infection and you take an antibiotic, and in most cases, it kind of cures that infection. Um, but I know for myself, over the decades, I've I've pursued cure after cure after cure, and what I now can see has been missing from a part of that has been kind of stepping onto a healing path, living my life as a healing journey. And it's not that, it's an either or. Either you're going possibly for this elusive cure, or you're searching for a healer. They're intertwined. Um, but um, there's an author who I was looking at last night. She wrote this book called Kitchen Table Wisdom. Rachel Naomi Remen, who's an MD, and she discovered, decades ago in her work that as an MD, that um, healing was missing from most doctors' practice, and and that it not only was hurting the patient, it was also burning out the professional. So I'm going to start with a reading from a book called Prayers for Healing that basically says what I've been trying to say much, much better than myself. When healing is the target, illness is the bow. What is a bow but a device for the transfer of energy? Likewise, an illness. Properly used, an illness turns an outward focus inward, sends energy to where it's needed most, transforms fears into strength, arrogance into humility, compulsion to caring, cynicism to compassion, brings balance to imbalance, the release of pain overlong denied. Worldly medicine does the opposite. It requires the patient to look outside herself, to give her power to another, to maintain control, to invade the body, to deny the spirit. One who embraces illness as well as health embraces the whole of life. She can offer life because she receives life. And that was written by an author named Haven Trevino. So last night I was thinking about this, and I actually Googled the definition of like cured and healing. And the definition for cured, some of the responses were spontaneous remission, induced remission, all signs of disease extinguished. And for healing, a healing, a healing journey. Um, the definition was becoming whole. And one thing that Rachel Naomi Remen said about a cure, is it's only lasting when healing happens at a deeper level. So, I spent some time last night thinking about this, and I was asking, well, if we're searching for a healer, who are our healers? And then I read a little further in Naomi, Rachel Naomi Remen's book, and she says, we healers are numerous, and we come with varied backgrounds, different belief systems, and unique tools in our healing toolbox. And yet we are all still healers. But you are the most potent healer of all. So I'm going to stop talking at this point and open the floor up to all of you, and asking, are you a healer? Do you feel that you are your own healer? Do you feel that you are your best healer? And what does that mean to you? What does that mean to your spiritual journey? Like, is it a one and done? Um, is it a prayer? Um, is it a ritual? Or is it something that becomes at some point so integrated within your soul and your life's journey that you are always on a healing path? You're always working towards um, becoming whole. So if you go ahead, like Garth just put out up in the chat, if you go ahead and raise your hand, I will call on you. And Lanny is right up there. Please, Lanny. Go ahead.
Yikes. Okay. Perfect subject, of course. I had lots to do. I was going to go do stuff because I haven't done stuff forever. I have a mystery illness that nobody could figure out. I am on a healing journey. I am my own healer, and I also seek outside. But I keep saying I have not yet learned the lesson, whatever the lesson is. I think everything that comes in front of me is a lesson. Whatever it is, I always look at it as it's coming to me because I want to learn something. But one of my things is my adrenals are shot, so energy is difficult for me. And one of the things I've looked at recently is being kind to myself. That helps me more in my healing journey than in my mind complaining about whatever it is that's going on physically. It's interesting. And I am looking for answers. I would love a quick answer. I would love to be dancing and playing tennis and blah blah, and not having to sleep half of my time. So I think it's interesting that you brought up this subject today, right now. And I'm still questioning on the journey. I'm thrilled that I haven't given up. I've had lots of brick walls, and it's like, okay, that wasn't it. But then, I took my boyfriend to his doctor yesterday or the day before, and right next to him was an office of something that I could use that was right there, so it was like, oh, this is a good message. This is, whatever. So I'm on the journey. That's all I could say. And connecting to joy is my main objective. And what I mean, I love service. That's my passion. That's what I keep doing. And I love it. So that's it for now. Thank you for bringing up the subject.
Thank you. Hi, Jan. You're still muted, Jan. There you go.
It's easy to forget that. More than 30 years, when my prayer was, Lord, make me an instrument, use my gifts in a way to benefit humanity. The answer to that prayer is I was diagnosed with cancer. And because of my cancer diagnosis, I started a nonprofit called Healing Journeys. And we did a conference for people touched by cancer called Cancer as a Turning Point from Surviving to Thriving. So for more than 30 years, I have not been cured of cancer. It has continued. It's been metastatic since 2011. My doctor has told me I would be dead months ago, but I'm still here. And because of my cancer, I've been working on healing all these years. And doing this conference has benefited more than 25,000 people. It's been a really, really rewarding career for me. And I never would have had it if I didn't have cancer. So although I would love to not have cancer, it's been a healing journey for me because I have cancer. So curing has not happened, but healing continues to happen. And I think so often we focus on the cure and we don't look at all of the silver lining of whatever is going on for us. Because I think being sick, having cancer does not mean I did something wrong in my life and I caused my cancer. It can be a total blessing. And I'm saying this for Lonnie too, to really look at the blessings of what's going on and how having a physical illness may actually be part of the healing journey.
Thank you, Jan. And if I could follow up with a question with you, Jan, what does that look like on a daily basis for you? Saying you're on a healing journey, besides starting, the organization that you did that's so incredible. What is it like when you wake up in the morning and maybe it's not your best day, but you're still on this healing journey? What does that look like for you?
It requires a lot of faith and acceptance of what is, and not labeling anything as good or bad. So often we say, oh, this is bad news or good news. So whatever's happening on that day, and I'm not saying this is easy to do, this is not easy. But on any day to say, I'm open to whatever lessons I have today, no matter what kind of wrapping they have. I mean, it may not look like a gift when it comes. But as the years have gone on, I mean, when I would have a recurrence or something that seems bad happens, I would always go through an oh shit phase. Oh shit, I didn't want this to happen. But those phases don't last very long anymore. I mean, they're shorter and shorter, my oh shit phases. And I get to the point of, so what's the gift in this? And what can, it's not that things are given to me for a gift, but that I can find the gift in anything. So sometimes it's harder than others. So for example, my son's father just died a few weeks ago, and it's a really painful thing. And the gift in it is that my son and I were together when we got the news, so it has drawn us much closer. I mean, even in something that I would never have wanted to happen, I can still, on a daily basis, try to focus on what's the gift. And I think the basis of that is to always know that I'm a spiritual being on a human path, and that spirit always trumps matter, and that what happens to me on a physical level is always a lesson for me on a spiritual level, and that the spiritual growth is what's most important.
Ah, thank you, Jan.
Mhm.
Brilliant wisdom.
Can I interrupt? So she wrote a memoir called Coloring Outside the Lines. You might consider purchasing it, which goes deeper into how Jan does this on a daily basis from an early age. So FYI, she just wrote it last year and it's easy, and thrift.com. It's sorry, Jan, you didn't do that, but I did. And it's her cancer journey.
It's thriftbooks.com.
I didn't put the S in there, sorry.
You didn't put books in there. It's thriftbooks.com.
Thank you,
Thank you, Carrie.
Carrie. And before we let you go, Carrie, I was thinking about you and Jan last night. And I'm trying not to tear up here, but you know, in thinking about my own blessings, um, that are just so numerous, um, you know, I wondered also, you know, as we're describing this healing path, this healing journey we're on, we always ask ourselves first what it takes for us, you know, to stay on this path each day. But I also, in thinking about the two of you, um, was asking myself last night what it takes for us to accompany another on their healing path. And to put you on the spot, Carrie, um, you know, I'm just in awe. I'm in awe of both of you, but you know, I'm truly in awe of you, Carrie, for showing up here and being, without knowing either of you, you know, personally, um, what what it takes to be a friend to another on their healing journey.
Yeah. Eesh.
Yeah.
So I will tear up. I already have. So the biggest thing for me at this this moment here is just every time I hear Jan, I texted her. I said, "Oh, this is right up your alley." Woohoo! You know, how many times do you hear the word healing journey? Because that is what everybody's on. Everybody on the planet is on a healing journey, and I just am blessed to witness. I got picked to be a friend of Jan, to witness it. And it is phenomenal. And it's not normal. It isn't, but it can be. She is not a normal person. And in terms of patience and discipline and her morning ritual, she's constantly vigilant about caregiving for herself, ultimately, 100%. And I don't know anybody that does that. So the way she does. And so I'm blessed to be a witness to it, for one. And then for and in comparison, you know, she gets an A+ and I feel like I get an F-, but it's okay because that's good and bad. That's exactly what she just talked about. Is I got picked, and that gives me an A+ because to witness it gives me hope, you know, hope and lessons and caregiving. I'm not caregiving for her. I'm friend and love giving to her. She lives somewhere else, and I caregive for my mom who lives up here, and that's a whole other different story. But I just for support, just support everybody all the time. Is, you know, I support your abdomen. I had abdomen surgery in October, and I don't want to keep going, but it's when you get a thing in your stomach you didn't know you had, and whoop, what was that? And then you then there's your healing journey in a different way. Don't freak out too much. Just stay on the path because we're all going somewhere. So enjoy it and do the best you can. That's all I got to say about that at the moment.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. Hi, Lori. I see your hand up. Oh, not anymore. Nope. Okay. Kavika, please go ahead.
Hi,
Hi.
hi everyone. Thank you for this subject. It is very dear to my heart because it's been a 20-year healing journey for me. And I just wanted to quickly share kind of a profound, I've had several profound gifts that realized I was supported by the universe, that I was being guided with the internal process of healing within through mind, body, and spirit. And my true healing didn't start until I started to encompass, all those elements. And it really brought me to a spiritual seeking for more depth, to make peace of what brokenness I was dealing with in my life. And one of my birthdays, I got very sick. I have like an auto kind of immune thing going on with Lyme's disease and EBV virus and stuff. And I was taken out all weekend on what was a very special weekend I had planned, in a very beautiful place, very beautiful resort, a lot of money spent. And I was basically bedridden. I couldn't really even get out other than just to get some fresh air. And, you know, all the little um, devils started to come out in the sense of, the critiquing and why me and why my birthday. But because I've been a pro at it, I didn't let that sneak in the back door and really taint my experience. And all I could do is just surrender and fall to my knees and be humbled so much that, I was breathing. I was able to notice the beautiful sunset and hear the birds. And that's all I needed to have tears, run down my eyes because I was still living. And then that night when I went to bed, I pretty much asked the universe, what is my birthday gift, to be shared with me having this experience? Because there's something profound that wants to come through. And I'm humbled and I'm listening, and I've been woken up to the fact that, you know, I I'm gonna listen to the subtle things behind all this noise created in my life. And the profound dream, the bits and pieces of it was kind of like a review of how I got sick. Oh, do you want me to show you how it began? Let's go back to, when you're in your 20s. And it kind of went through this whole timeline of all these points in my life that I was getting communicated by my body saying something's wrong, there's imbalance. Your lifestyle is too fast. You're too consuming too much of my energy. And I showed you, and now you've been humbled, so you're listening. So let me show you what the healing process is. And then it kind of also went on into showing me that if you don't listen and you don't wake up, then cancer is going to be your next wake up call. And so I kind of woke up in the morning just, completely had such a profound experience and really answering all the deepest answers I was ever seeking through medical professionals and my own dialogue. And I got it directly from source. And from that point from that point on, I really, had grit to start to make the changes and get the small victories. And it's been a long process, but I've certainly crawled out of the trenches. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I think that, in our lives, most of us, um, actually, I have no doubt that we've all, had those recognitions, or opportunities to recognize. But what it takes to actually listen, um, the way that you were called to finally listen. I don't know if it's just grace, that a moment of grace, but um, yeah, it's profound. Thank you, Loretta. Hi, Loretta. Good to see
Hi.
you.
Hi, everybody. I love what Jan said about what happens on the physical level is always a lesson on the spiritual level. And I'll tell you, like Jan, I have alcoholism. It's not going away. It is what it is. But what it has done for me, and it's interesting, I'm not one of those people that was an alcoholic from the first drink. I kind of drank my way into it in my early 30s. So when I look at the course of my life, I went through a lot with a very early marriage that was horrible, and then taking back my power in my mid 20s. And then I moved from Pennsylvania to Connecticut to really find where I was supposed to be. And then I developed alcoholism. And when I came out of it and was 2 years sober, I became an addictions counselor. And as a result of being a counselor for 36 years, not only did I work with people with addictions, I worked with people through employee assistance programs. So a lot of not heavy duty mental health stuff, but counseling rather than psychotherapy. And I don't know how many people I've had over that 36 years before I retired last September, but there's been a lot. And I've affected a lot of lives. And then I started counseling compulsive gamblers. And that was at the end of my career, was my main focus. And as a result of my illness, I have helped a lot of people. And it feels really good, and it is spiritually enriching for me to know that I have done that, and being where I was supposed to be and meeting the people I was supposed to meet. And now I do, metaphysical work with people. And, I feel like I have chosen a vocation as a result of my illness, and I have healed. I've healed my alcoholism. I don't get rid of it. Like Jan still has her cancer, but I'm healed from it. I'm healed by it. And I have made a contribution to other people. 2 years ago, this summer, I fell and smashed. If my bones would break, I would have shattered my entire shoulder. I hit the ground so hard. But what happened was I snapped 2.5 rotator cuffs and my bicep. And my people came, my friend, I live in Pennsylvania now. 5 people came from Connecticut and took care of me. My friends came down, they showed up and they took care of me. And I know that at that point in my life, I needed that infusion of love. I needed to feel cared for because I wasn't feeling cared for at the time. You know, I live in Pennsylvania. I care for my mother, which I'm very happy to do. She's 99. She's going to be 100 in September. And as long as she's here, I'm here. And then I'm going back to Connecticut because that's where my friends are. That's where my life is. That's where I'm grounded. But I came here to get married, and my husband has since passed 6 years ago. So, you know, I live alone and I needed an infusion of love. And so I fall and I get hurt. And I got hurt and I had cataract surgery at the end of June. I had this shoulder surgery in the middle of July. I had the other cataract at the end of July. There was a lot going on that I needed to heal from. And I said to the orthopedist when we were talking about the surgery, I said, I'm a really good healer. I am, because my body will heal. And I know that it will because I take care of myself, because I do, you know, my nutrition is really good. And because my nutrition is good, I can heal my body. And because I know that my body can heal itself. So there's all that, you know, mental, emotional, spiritual going into it. I was not alone until more than 24 hours until August 11th. And my surgery was July 15th. So, you know, I think that we get what we need when we need it. If I stay on the right path, you know, if I start drinking again, it's all over. But as long as I stay on my spiritual path, I see these miracles happening in my life. And I believe everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. So when you first brought up the subject, what came to my mind is, you know, healing doesn't necessarily change what happens so much as it changes our perspective on it. It changes the way, you know, I don't ever pray when somebody's sick that they live. I don't know that they're supposed to live. I pray that people will be okay with whatever happens, because that's where the healing is, in the acceptance of it, you know, and the acceptance of the fact that my husband died. It worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. We weren't even married that long. We were only married 14 years, you know, which is nothing from where I'm sitting. And but I was with him, you know, took care of him towards the end. And that's what I was supposed to do. That was the task that I was assigned. You know, he had had been married to my sister, and she died in 1994. And he took care of her, and I took care of him. And I believe there was a pre-birth contract that we do that. And so, you know, stuff works out the way it's supposed to if I stay on the spiritual path. So that's what I have to contribute. Thank you.
Well, if no one else is going to raise their hand, I'm going to start working my way through the list. If you want to pass, you can, but um, let's see. Barbara Vale, um, would you like to share something?
Okay.
Thank you. Hi.
So it's about helping someone with their healing journey. And actually, it's my firstborn. And it's quite a journey that they're on. But I do think, like Loretta, that we had contracts that we're supposed to be in this lifetime to work on this stuff and to heal. It's so tied up with ancestor stuff. And I'm seeing it more and more. They're dealing with PTSD and trauma, and I am very clear that I cannot, as their mother, lead them on this path, really in any way whatsoever. I had my chance and it kind of got botched. No, I mean, what it seemed like happened is that when they were growing up, because I was attending to my life and things. And as a mother, I didn't see things that they were experiencing and so forth. So, and once I knew that things were going on, I didn't see them in the same way. I don't think any of us sees anybody else's stuff in the same way that, or any incident in the same way. If there, however many people there are that many opinions about what's going on, and most of it's based on, in my case, based on what was going on for me at the time. But I have come to realize that my biggest contribution is to provide a safe harbor for them to do their work. And they have resources, and it also it can get a little contentious that we don't agree on things. I come up with great ideas of what they should do because it worked for me. Well, that doesn't work for them. So so that's it, to provide safe harbor and to surround them and me, but all with love.
Barbara, sounds like a good plan. Um, Barbara Jurgen, would you like to share something?
Well, I've enjoyed listening to everyone else that has shared, and the older I get, the more I realize how little we really understand about our own journey. I wish I'd gotten a book of instructions. But I think I'm more thoughtful about others and myself about what we need. And really, sometimes what we need on our journey are the very simple things backed with love. And I just hope that I'm able to be there when I need to. I know when I was counseling kids, that was my prayer is, I don't know who I'm supposed to see today, but help me say what I need to say. I think there's so much unknown, and I wish I could just do better at it, but I think we all feel that way. So we just have to keep trying.
Thank you. Hi, Debbie. Would you like to share something with us today?
Well, I guess I could. I kind of understand everybody's feeling that illness is a blessing in disguise.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people that I've read in books and pioneers and so forth, they seem to come from that element of having illness create a very profound spiritual path for them. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Jonathan was ill when he was younger and had to go through quite an ordeal. And also, my mentor, Dr. Bernard Grad, had the same thing with tuberculosis. And I had basically the same thing with cancer at a very young age. And so I could really see illness as being a blessing in disguise. And it's interesting, all the people that have contributed to mentioning their spiritual past today, that here I am 75 and I look back on it and I can see how carefully it was orchestrated by the mind of God, I guess you would say, for me to end up right at the exact space I am now. And it's really quite amazing if you do that. Every little step that you made, it may have been an opportunity, it might have been something you missed, it might have been a tragedy. It's where you work, who you connect with, and everything just seems to flow to right where you are today. And I just have to say that it's very nice to be in a group like this that has the same heart and very kind minds. To be able to, I suppose, all of a sudden take a look at the world and begin participating in it after such a struggle of many, many years. And so I want to thank everybody for that. And I do want to comment on your desk in the background and your willows and your beautiful pink candle, because I have a desk just like that, a roll top desk. And I have a candle just like that, rose quartz. And so, when you see things like that, there's no coincidences ever. It's all in God's plan. So, thank everybody for giving their journeys, and each one is individual but necessary and beautiful. And I just love being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. I love having you here. Hi, Eve. Would you care to share something today with us?
Sure. I just want to say thank you too for this topic. I realized it's interesting because I've had to do things on my own now for the last almost 11 years. And at the start, I still felt strong and capable. And the past 3 years, that seems to be diminishing. And now when I have to do things like last night, go off to the doctor, and my daughter offered to go with me. And I, because I'm so, independent, logical thinking. And I said, no, I can do this. And so I went off on my own and ended up having to go further than the doctor's office. I had to go to a path lab and ended up feeling what I was calling anxiety. And my son happened to say today how apprehensive he felt about going to a job he had to go to. And I thought, that's the word, apprehensive. And my daughter said, that's one step away from anxiety. I thought, okay. But, it's being alone, being more apprehensive, and feeling so vulnerable at this age. And I'm just glad to hear everybody else and see how how they're dealing with it. And what I've learned, my thing has been let it go, let it go, Eve, let it go. And like Julian of Norwich, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. So it's just a matter of, as everybody is saying, accepting, looking for the lesson, and okay, maybe I can't be the supporter I once was and now have to be supported. And I'm just very fortunate that I have 2 adult children that will be there that will help support me. And I just thank everyone who's shared for what they've said, because it's meant a great deal to me. So thanks.
Thank you.
Joni, can I share something with Eve?
Yes, please.
As I was listening to you, Eve, I was thinking that sometimes a lesson in something is to learn how to receive, and giving the other person the gift of helping you, and that maybe your apprehensiveness was saying that maybe if your daughter was with you, it would have been more comfortable for you, and it would have been really helpful for your daughter to be able to help you, that she would have enjoyed that. And
Totally.
that may part of the healing that you're needing to go through is learning how to receive.
Exactly. And she said to me, Mom, no more appointments on your own.
Yes. Yay. Good for her. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank both of you. Yeah, Jan, that's just an excellent, point or side to all of this is, um, I've asked, several people, um, what it is, what it takes to help another, but your point of learning to receive is such a huge lesson that, um, we're not trained in, and
Oh.
uh, there's so many emotions that go into receiving help. I know for myself, there's shame that I even need help, um, that I ask, of another's person's time, um, and yet we're never really shown how, um, it's such a gift to someone else to receive help from them. Um, it's another, I guess, a question, that I'll throw out there. If anyone has, um, experiences with, um, finding that moment where that realization, where, receiving help, uh, is such a blessing to others, um, allowing others to serve. Um, it's just something we're unless we actually are kind of thrust into that position, we just it can't. It's almost incomprehensible to understand. Lanning, what would you like to add?
I just want to put a prayer out that I want to shift from thinking of myself as a human doing versus a human being. I like myself, I love myself, it's wonderful, but I again have an autoimmune, like somebody else shared. Doing to me is important, and I want to get away from that. I want to be into whatever comes, whatever I can do, whatever is fine. So I just want to put it out to the universe because that's really important for me.
We hear you, Lanny.
What, you didn't hear me?
No, I said we do hear you.
Uh-oh.
Universe hears you.
I thought I'd muted it all. That's again the doing part.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Debbie, go ahead.
There is just one more thing I wanted to add that I have learned over the decades with great intensity is that we are never alone. And no one is ever alone, no matter what is happening at the moment or throughout the years. So I just would like people to reflect on that and know that that is a truth, you know. So that was my statement, vital statement. We may feel vulnerable and alone like Eve is feeling, but you are never alone, never alone.
Thank you. There are a few people that aren't on video. I'm still going to ask if you'd like to share a word or two. Pia, welcome to the group. I don't recognize you, so But if you'd like to just even share who you are and or a comment on today's group, please go ahead. That. Let me see who else. Kamari, hi. Would you like to share something with us today? Okay. Gayla, would you like to share something with us?
Yeah, I had put a couple of things there in the chat. Uh, I had a severely disabled daughter, and she taught me a lot, of course. And one of the things as far as giving, when she was really young, she had this really neat blonde curly hair and sitting in a wheelchair, and people were drawn and wanted to give her things. And as a single mom at the time, I thought, well, I can take care of, I don't need people to give her things. And my mom reminded me that my daughter, was giving the gift to the world of them being able to give to her. And I was part of that in needing to connect with those people. And over the years, that happened over and over. I still remember a woman, we were in a restaurant, who came over and gave me a note. And when I opened it, found that she had just been really inspired by our relationship, because my daughter required full care. And so I realized that it wasn't just our journey. We were touching many people that I never even knew. And when she passed, and at the funeral, heard things that I never even realized that she had affected, or we had affected people. And so I think that, whoever said we're never alone, yeah, we're always in connection, even when we're not aware. And whatever our journey is, we're all healing, because we didn't come here to show off how put together we are. We came here to continue to bless each other with our presence.
Thank you. I'm going to drop down to Lori because I don't think we've heard from her today.
All right, I'm ready this time.
Okay.
I came across a poem that I thought I would share about healing, and it begins, how do we heal a world that is burning? We douse the fire with love. How do we heal a people divided? We face what divides us with love. How do we heal generations of trauma? We tend to that trauma with love. How do we heal our pained and wounded bodies? We listen to those bodies with love. We don't run away or fill our heads with stories or look for ways to shame and blame. We listen with no judgment. We listen with curiosity and compassion. We listen so that we may hear. We hear so that we may know. We share so that we may grow and fill the space between us with love. Tammy Stone Takahashi. And that just touched me. I wanted to share.
Very fitting. Before we head out, I did see Loretta's hand back up. Loretta, are you?
Yeah, I just wanted to say very briefly to address when Eve was talking about accepting help. I had a roommate once, or not a roommate. I lived in a 3-family a situation, and there was a woman on the second floor, and I could go and ask her for like a cup of sugar or whatever it was that I needed, but she would never ever ask me for anything. And it made me very uncomfortable to ask her for anything because she would never reciprocate. And I always remember that as a lesson to be gracious in accepting help and giving help. So that's all I wanted to add.
That's a beautiful summation of today, Loretta. Thank you. Well, we've reached the end of our hour and a little beyond, so I'll end here, but I want to thank all of you for coming today and being a part of this conversation. Um, I know it's not always easy to discuss some of the matters that we have, but I think it's always really important. And I'm really honored to be here and be with each of you.
Thank you, Joni. Thank you,
Thank
Garth. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Garth.
Thank you. Thank you, Joni.
You wonderful. Thank you.
Have a wonderful week. See you next week.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.